No, it was working fine.
I have to talk louder into it. Is that better? Okay, much better. Okay, there we go. Top concerns. This won't work. We should use XYZ solution instead. This is what we hear from a lot of the communities. These shouldn't be in the place of the areas that we chose. These cameras are the speed trap cash grab. That's the biggest one that we probably hear most days. These cameras share data, get hacked, and then this will cost us too much. I will kindly say that I agree with all of this. The reason that we are here tonight is actually to speak with you and speak on all these different points that have been brought up across the entire state. I've talked to probably at least 50, 60 communities. This gets brought up in every single one of the meetings. This is truly why I'm here. This is an image out of Illinois, where I'm actually based out of. We have these programs throughout the state, and they use a warning program. This is only a warning issued camera right now, but this person was doing 53 and a 25 while kids are walking outside of a school. And that's a big, big issue that we have all across the United States. We see this everywhere. Not everybody has the luxury of having the actual legislation that you guys have, which is a fine thing to have. It's another tool. It's not the end-all, be-all of all traffic enforcement, okay? But this is the reason why. Behavior change. Like I said before, automated speed enforcement is not one solution. It's multiple solutions. You guys have a lot of these in your town already. You certainly have a lot of these. But most people are just going to continue to speed. We see that in most of the towns that we work with, and it's not a silver bullet. You have to use multiple different types of, I would say, Vision Zero products, meaning automated speed enforcement cameras, speed humps, radar feedback, DOT regulations. They're all put in place there to ultimately slow down people and make those roads safer. Irene did a really good job of kind of summarizing this already, and I appreciate her doing that. But this is how the initial launch happens. We worked through this program with Jim Britton in Washington to start, along with Middletown. But you have a community hearing first. You establish a local ordinance. You procure through, obviously, one of the vendors that are out there and one of a couple other ones. Then you have to work with the state on working with an approval process that has to gather traffic data, speeding. You have to have census tracks. You also have to have a lot of crash data, and you have to actually support an entire scale drawing in the way that you're going to implement this program. It is not a simple process where it's just you're checking a couple boxes. This is a real, true public-private partnership between us and DOT. It's a big, big part of it. I support it. I'm glad that you guys have it. Other states don't have that type of program. So there is a lot of oversight that comes from the DOT on this. And then once you get through that process, you install your hardware and you configure the software. And then we work with the cities and the law enforcement agencies to make sure that they're processing everything correctly on a daily basis. To add extra sites, it's a little easier. You don't have to go through as much of the initial launch, but to a new site, you have to have another public hearing. So you have to come in front of everybody, establish where the locations are going to go again, and then you go through the permit process that's already tied to your initial permit that gets approved by DOT. And then again, install and configure, same process. Typical automation programs, we establish and launch, like I said on the previous slide, then you obviously get the cameras installed, images are captured, they go through a processing software on the back end that is triple checked, not only through AI, it's also done through multiple people. And then ultimately it falls in the hands of the law enforcement to make the judgment on whether a warning, a citation, or a rejection happens. So ultimately in the hands of the law enforcement, they're the ones that are making the decisions if you get a ticket or not. Then it comes to the due process piece. You can obviously just pay it, appeal it, or you can ignore it altogether. We have all that baked into the system. The biggest thing is that compliance is key, and we also do not infringe on your due process law or rights. We are big on that. DACRA Tech is actually not just a speed enforcement camera system. It is actually a courtroom management system as well. So we take pride in that. We've been doing that for 25 plus years, all over the United States. And then lastly is the analyzation of the data. The data actually has to be sent up to the DOT every single year to see how the progress is going with the systems. Now, obviously, we're embarking on, I think, roughly getting close to a year with the town of Washington. So we will be helping them submit all their data and analyze it and make sure that it gets up there correctly. But there are certain things that have to be done every single year. These are what some of the camera solutions look like that are across the state. Obviously, Washington, Connecticut being the one that is most prominent that you would be more familiar with. This is an AC hardwired and solar solution. Night vision IR color comes with it. The mounting obviously has to be about 10 to 14 feet in the air. And then obviously it's been operated in states like Florida as well as far north as Newfoundland, Canada. We also operate in Canada as well. So the cameras are pretty well battle tested in the environments that are out there, but this is primarily what most of the solutions in your state look like. It's pretty clean. It's not very bulky. This is ultimately what this system looks like when it eventually gets on the street. I don't even know if the animation will work, but it probably won't. No, I got to go back. So as you're driving along the road, all this signage, this is all DOT regulation. All these signages have to go in before you even get to the camera solution itself, okay? So you're driving past multiple signs notifying you that this program is in place. There is a 30-day warning period that has to go in place before you even start issuing citations. So in the towns, most of the time, there's a 40% drop in speeding just before you even start issuing citations because people are notified. They know that it's there. They're going to understand that. So that's a big, big, big part of this. But this is ultimately what it looks like. This is what gets submitted up to DOT, not this exact schematic, but an exact scale drawing showing all the signage that has to go in place. That is part of the regulations. This is a big thing. I know that a lot of people ask about this all the time. It's about the data. City owns the data. It is your data. I cannot do anything with the data without your permission, nor share it with anybody without your permission. It is 100% yours. Now, the municipalities, what they've started to understand is that there is regulations put in place from the state that says 30 days after due process is fully given, we have to wipe the data anyways. All these tickets go to registered owners. They do not go to forward-facing places. All of the cameras are rear-facing, so you don't even know who's in the vehicle. And I'll get to some of that in a second. I'll show you some of the visuals. The system itself works in 3 easy steps. You confirm a violation, you take an action, and you send out the notices. DACRA, meaning speed enforcer, actually handles the first and the third. The only one that the city has to actually handle from a resource management side is law enforcement has to be the ones that make the judgment on if it's a citation, a warning, or it's a rejection. This is what some of the software looks like. This is what the processing end looks like. So you have your thumbnails, you have your date, time stamps, you have the make, model, color, you also have the plate, and then we also coordinate with Inlets, which is our provider of all registered owner information. It's a 50-state repository. It's a very vigorous process that we have to go through as a company, cybersecurity, the whole 9 yards. Fingerprints, everybody that's in our company is Inlet certified. So we have to go through that process. It's a big, big deal. It's the same systems like if you have a records management system or a CAD system for police, they have to go through the same vigorous protocols. This is what I'm talking about on the rear facing. These are what all the images look like inside the software when they're getting processed. But as you can kind of see, it'll tell you exactly how fast you're going, what the fine amounts will ultimately be, and then on the other side, it's going to show make, model, color, obviously the plate, the owners, and then how many times this person is ultimately violated. Now, since the statutes say in Connecticut that you... Yes, sir. Sorry, say it again? It's calibrated through a third-party engineering firm that does it for us, and then we store those calibration certificates in the back end of the software that they're readily available to every citizen that gets a citation. So it's a third party, it's not us.
Is that done daily?
That is done annually, per the statute. It is done on the initial installation, and then it's done annually. These are what the citations look like. So you have warnings. This is a warning. Looks very similar to a one of the notice of violations that go out. But obviously the difference is between most of these is that one has money on it and one does not. But the biggest piece on these is these little QR codes. On the back side of these tickets, it'll also explain how you can go to the citizen portal to pay, contest, or if you just want to visually look at it, you can. But that little QR code takes you directly to a site and allows you to contest or just make payments. So it's a lot easier than most of the stuff that's out there because ultimately most of the days people are just using these anyways.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hold the question, just because we gotta pass the mic back and forth on the questions and the answers and all that, so. I understood.
I'll answer all your questions, I promise. I promise. This is what the visual of the citizen portal looks like when you were to scan one of those QR codes or go to our website. This is obviously branded for another place up in Canada, but you can obviously use the mobile version as well as the desktop. And then here's your contesting form to fill out your information as well as upload any digital evidence and the reasonings why you're contesting your violation. That goes directly to your LTA or your hearing officer of who is going to make those judgments. This is one of the other reasons why I'm here. Now, usually it builds up. I can actually explain a little more in detail. But this is from Middletown. This was one of the habitual offenders that we saw out there. And as you can kind of see up in the top left, during the warning period, this person had violated multiple times in this zone. And then they obviously didn't get the hint when the violations were, or the warnings were sent out. So they continued to get citations all the way when the program went live, and we found out reckless driving events were 7, 15 to 20 over was 9, 10 to 15 was 5, 21 overall events, and come to find out that this was a kitty cab. So I don't know if you have kitty cabs in East Haddam, but this is a local company that drives kids around, I guess, obviously to school. So this is something that they didn't get the hint, but eventually they did. So that is a big portion of why we do this. Speeding is a big problem in this state. This was some of the statistics that came out of the initial launch of the Middletown program. 94% reduction in reckless driving from this time that we did the traffic study initially all the way up until September. That's a huge decrease in the amount of speeding. Now they focused on reckless driving first, and then they started to move towards the other types of speeders, which is in those other buckets of 15 to 20 and 10, 15, and so on and so forth. But the biggest number being 94% was the ones that were all in the reckless driving area. That's 20 and over. Those are different types of tickets that are given to from, obviously, law enforcement is in the room, so I would assume that is a much larger fine or a much different conversation than it is if it was just 10 or over. And then this was the compliance rate. This was also a big thing that we tracked, and we were giving this to the chief in Middletown on a weekly basis, was showing the compliance rate. So showing when the system actually went in from its conception to all the way up until almost current day, showing that he had a speeding issue initially. The program went in during the warning period, and you can see a lot of people started to comply because they knew that the camera was going out, plus the public campaign that Chief Costa did. He did a very fine job there. And then ultimately, when this violation started to kick in, compliance went up dramatically. So these systems do work. We have the data to support it. This is something that we support with all of our clients, and we serve up to them on a weekly basis. So we like to actually track how this works because ultimately I want it to work. We don't want it to be a non-behavioral change and then you're just issuing tickets to issue tickets. That's not what this is about. This is about the behavior change aspect of it. That's all I got.
On 520 Town Street.
Okay, we're ready to start. Who's up for a question?
We're good now.
Thank you. I resent the fact.
Turn off the handheld.
Turn off the handheld? Oh, because he's close enough to that.
Just,
Sorry, go ahead, speak up.
people people in the back will need to get closer to this microphone. They'll have
But
to-
we're not,
No, he says turn off the handheld.
All right, we ready to go?
Yeah.
I resent the fact that this meeting has been set up on the presumption that this system is to be implemented without the citizens of this town having a voice. Perhaps some of you have heard of Big Brother is Watching. A fellow by the name of George Orwell wrote a book some number of years ago, and that's where that phrase comes from.
Well, you're smirking. Don't smirk, man.
I think, yeah, this is classic. There's a for-profit company that's come here to sell this to our municipal leaders on the basis that they're gonna receive a whole bunch of fines. Middletown assessments so far total $1.4 million. Now you tell me it's about the speeding. It's about the damn money.
And they're contesting
And
the
control.
fact that it's
Control
not
of the people.
constitutional.
Yeah, this morning, Channel 3, Middletown.
Take this to New Haven, put up some red light cameras and address some serious issues with injury-related running lights. We don't have a traffic light in this town, guys.
Yellow lights.
Here. I have a question.
We don't
How
want
is,
it.
how is,
We don't want it.
how would this not be a violation of the police union contract? Taking jobs away from police officers.
That's right. Next, we'll get rid of our police officers. I wouldn't back.
We don't want to get rid of we want to hire a police officer. We don't want that here. We want another police officer.
a policeman's job.
To me, that's a violation of the contract. There's got to be something in their contract that says these things cannot be implemented.
We should ask them.
They're right here.
Okay,
Is there an
so
answer
I
for
can
that?
speak to that. There isn't anything in their contract that says that we can't use speeding devices. Whether they're these particular devices that we're talking about tonight, or whether or not the devices that are out there now. And actually, some of the devices that we do use around town are ones that are offered by the police, as I mentioned in the beginning of the meeting. I have here a pile of, excuse me for 1 second, and I'll get to you. I have a pile that came in the last month and a half. This is from somebody who wants to know what can be done regarding the terrible speeding on their roads. This person lives on Cove Road and Johnsonville Road. 83 O'Connell Road. This one is East Haddam Colchester Turnpike. This was AP Gates and Tater Hill. This one is Wickham. This one is Clark Gates.
Do they have speed detection devices?
This is Ray Hill. This is Sheepskin Hollow. There's another one for Clark Gates. Here's another one for East Haddam Colchester Turnpike. And here's one for Norwich Road.
What about speed bumps?
Okay, speed bumps, we can't put on state roads. We can put them on our private roads. And right now, we're rebuilding a lot of our private roads, so we could do that. Okay, but that is something that we have to go to, I believe, DOT anyway, because even though there are roads, I think with a speed bump, we have to make sure that we can do that. So that is definitely an option, and we can write that down as being an option. The other thing about it is that we just had a fatal less than, I think it was a week ago. Okay, people are getting hurt. We've had dogs being hit. There's a lot of problems, and this is one way amongst many to combat the situation. Is it a money grab? We're not looking to necessarily make money. We're certainly not going to make millions of dollars. We're not going to make millions of dollars like Middletown is, but the money is there's a stipulation in regards to the money because of the DOT program that you can only use the money for traffic safety things, whether they be more speed cameras, or we could use it to improve the roads, or we could put in speed bumps.
If it's not about the money, donate it to charity.
No, you gotta
Use our taxes.
For the roads, put in sidewalks, put in painting the sidewalk or painting the roads where we can do some road calming. That's something that towns are doing. So this is about public safety. It's not about a money grab, and it's not about a Big Brother thing. However, just so you know, okay, just let me finish. This tonight is not about you guys saying, no, don't do it. This is about asking your questions. Why is it Big Brother? What can we say about whether it's Big Brother or whether it's not? What kind of questions do you have that we can answer? And then you can go back and say, yeah, I really don't like this idea and we're gonna vote no when it comes up. We're not voting tonight. This is not about voting. It's just about finding information. And I hope that you guys can all stay focused on the idea that this is a fact finding. And there are people in the room that are seriously upset with the kind of traffic that goes by their house every day and about the fact that they can't walk their dog down the street without worrying, or they can't push a carriage down the street. The people are really concerned. Now, there's plenty of other people in the room that are concerned about the Big Brother aspect. We get that. We understand that. Tonight, we're just having a conversation. So please don't think that we're running into your living rooms and stealing your privacy. We're not. We're just here to talk about a possible solution. Speed bumps, write that down, Mr. Selectman-elect, please. And you can have that conversation with them next time. That's all we're doing here. We're not making any decisions tonight.
So is this going out for referendum?
So I think Mr. Massey was next. If you would stand so that we can hear you on the mic and ask whatever question you like.
Mike Massey, 51 Daviston Road. I have experience with the one on Washington Street in Middletown. I go through it on my way to work. What I observe is about 1,000 feet before the traffic camera, everybody slows down to the speed limit. They go 1,000 feet past the traffic camera and they're back up to 20 miles an hour over. So your chart looks great, but you're taking a data point for about a half a mile. They give you all kinds of advance warning about the speed camera ahead, speed camera ahead, speed camera ahead. Once people learn where the speed cameras are, it doesn't improve speed. I noticed in your presentation there was no discussion about cost. My other question is it looks like for each ticket that's issued, there's a $15 fee. Does that $15 fee get charged even if the ticket doesn't get paid? And what is the repercussions if I decide to crumble up the ticket and throw it in the trash?
I'll answer your last one first, which is the crumble up and throw it away. Oh, sorry.
Stand up and speak loud.
Yeah, sorry. Statutorily, it's a decision based on the city of what they're going to do. You can go to collections. You can offer up collections. You can offer up some other things that the state allows that to do. But at that point in time, it's up to the city what they're going to do with that ticket. Okay. Your other question was relating to
Cost. I mean, what is the cost to install the system? What is the cost to calibrate the system?
Yeah.
What is the cost? And I don't think it's all that effective because with all the advance notice, everybody knows where the camera is. So, yep, they slow down in town for a half a mile and the speeding's back.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of hiring a police officer who's tasked with pretty much ticketing.
Yeah. So
because then it's an enforceable offense because it goes to motor vehicle.
That's right, it's criminal, not civil.
And he could be anywhere. He could be anywhere in
It is
town.
a-
Correct. And he could hit 5 roads.
Answer the question,
Absolutely.
guys.
So what you said was totally valid on everything you said. There's analytical data that goes into the back end of the office that says, hey, these are the best times for these police officers to go sit in those areas after the camera solution is in. If you talk to Chief Costa and have a very good conversation with him, he'll explain to you how he has dispatched his police force in a totally different way because he now has an extra tool. That's the big piece of this. So there is analytics to show that there is good ways to use it and plummet it. And I understand there is going to be ways where they're going to push people to other areas of the city and they're going to divert to other areas. That's why he knows his city probably better than anybody. And he's going to put speed humps. He's going to put radar feedback. And he's going to start studying those other areas as those people move around. Again, this is not a simple, it goes in and then we're just going to set it and forget it. That's not how this works.
Because you can't move it. You're going to install it. You're going to install it. It's a permanent fixture. It's not like something that you can pick up and move. So once everybody figures out where it is, you've slowed down the speeders for a half a mile.
In terms of that area, yes. But the whole idea is that when they go to increase how many other camera systems that get put into the town, people are aware. It's a drastic drop, but the biggest thing is that now they know that they can sit there. They can't do traffic stops on that location. Have you ever been there?
Where?
At the location where 66 is at in Middletown. To do a traffic stop is not easy for those guys that are sitting. So the biggest part of it is that I see a lot of the roads when I was driving in this tonight. You have roads, there's a tiny little area where they can't pull off on the side of the road. It's very dangerous for them to do that. So again, it's just another tool for them to use. It's not the end all be all solution.
Cost.
Cost.
You have a
What is the cost associated
It
with
is
installing a singular camera so we can get an idea?
There is no cost of installing the cameras. It is a cost neutral solution. It is paid through services that we provide to the city, and we only take our proceeds when the tickets are ultimately paid.
So if nobody pays their tickets, you don't get paid.
You had a question.
But think of the lifestyle.
Go ahead.
It's all based on services.
What is the cost of the camera?
How much do they cost you guys?
There is no lease fee and tied to it at all. It's all based on the services that we provide.
How much does the camera actually cost?
I'm trying to tell you, it's a cost neutral
She
product.
doesn't mean to the town, she means in general. What is their value to you?
The value to us
Yeah, like,
in terms of like what we make,
Sure.
Where do you make your money and how much do
make
you
our money
make?
based on the services that we provide to the city, meaning mailings, inlets, lookups, the whole 9 yards. It's all the processing that goes along with the system itself.
We are not gonna be able to get all your questions in a minute, so you're gonna have to do this one at a time, guys, or this isn't gonna be effective for anybody. And there are people that out there are listening, so. Okay,
Yeah, I think
Go
that's a
ahead.
good idea.
I kind of wrote them down because I know there's probably a lot of people here with questions. So statistically speaking, what is the level off like complacency period? Like, you said that a lot of stuff, I think the Washington selectmen who had been talking, I think at the time when they came in, it had only been out for like 4 months or something. So I think most people know, there's that period where people are like, they have that shock value where they're like, oh, and they slow down. And then over time, people start to get a little complacent and like they've said, it's kind of like you put a Band-Aid on a hole in a barrel and then the other holes start popping out as people start diverting other neighborhoods and creating the risk there. So is there like a complacency leveling off from your statistics and analytics that shows that they work up to a point? And then, or is it?
See, like I said, it depends on the roads too. So if it's a transitory road versus a local road, it's different. The reason it's different is because those people that are coming through, it could be tourists, it could be anybody. If they don't know the camera's there, or they forget, or whatever happens, then ultimately those are probably the people that are going to offend the most, or the ones that pop up in the system the most. Now, it could be a one-off for them, just coming through the town one time. But at the end of the day, the people that live here, you guys are going to know best that it is there. So your behavior is probably going to change the most and be the most effective towards that.
And then I was going to ask you about in terms of the data privacy aspect. You noted in your presentation that AI was going to be used in compiling our data, and I was curious as to the AI.
The AI solution is just a automated. It's called optical character recognition. All it does is it reads the plate. That's all it's doing.
OCR. Okay. So and then where's the data being housed prior to the transmission to?
So it's housed in Microsoft Azure Government Cloud. That's the same place where like CIA, FBI host their data. And again, after due process is given, ultimately, I can't house it anymore. I have to scrub it. It's a state statute, so I do not hold on to it forever.
And then, so lastly, I just want to make a couple, like, how would we be able to confirm that the violator is actually the person driving or, owning the car? Because essentially this data is only showing the license plate and the tie back to the owner or registered person, not necessarily who the actual person committing the violation is. So do we have a way that we're going to be able to verify that so that these tickets don't just get thrown out for that purpose? Or and then what's the appeal process? Who's going to be chosen in our town to make those decisions as to what tickets can be thrown out? And I just wanted to note that speeding is a major issue, but it's not the only issue. So in terms of this, and I know it's been mentioned, other things need to be done as part of a greater initiative, but it's not going to touch intoxication, general recklessness and things like that. So we need to be mindful of the fact that this being put up is not necessarily going to solve our problems. It's only going to touch on some of them. And also that, basically I thought in what was reported, the DOT is only permitting 3 cameras max on those state roads. So once we have those in place, we can't necessarily get more if we determine that it needs to be in another area. So I just wanted.
Before you go, can you just state your name and address?
Jamie D'Amato, 45 Neptune.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank
Do
you.
you want to answer some of those?
I'm trying to sort them all out, so.
Okay,
So-
so stay here, Jamie.
Yeah, so just start from that first one. You asked me that last one again. There's like 4 that all went up.
I know. Was this, no, not the AI calibrate, nope.
I think that's where you stopped.
That's where I
Yeah.
stopped. Yes,
To
and
get
you,
his
and you were
answer.
SOC 2 certified?
Yes, we are.
It was, gosh, I don't wanna take up everybody's time here, but, the 3 cameras permitted by the DOT on state roads, does that?
That's something that we started asking that. We work closely with them on there. That I have not heard that as a regulation as of right now. They have not been putting that forward because again, we've sent up a couple permits where there's 10 locations on state roads and they have not denied us.
They've approved all of them.
Yeah, they have not denied the city. And when I say us, I'm not meaning us, I'm meaning the city.
Okay.
It's provided on base to the city. It's not been by us.
But the camera count, isn't that approved by DOT?
Correct.
Right, so again, DOT is, I think when it first initially came out, there was something about 3, but they've since changed that because they are, for bigger places, they're approving a lot of cameras.
There is. Yeah. I mean, I think New Haven had 26. So.
And I think the other question involved the appeal process and how that was going.
Yeah, the appeal process is, there's a couple ways that the contesting can ultimately happen is obviously that form that I showed you first. So you contest. There's only 6 reasons based on the statute to contest those violations. It's stolen vehicles, emergency vehicles. I believe if the calibration is not correct on the camera, but it primarily was focused around the emergency vehicles situation. But you have to have a written contest up to the city. And again, my system is the one that just manages it, doesn't actually do it. But that's based on their statutes on how they're going to handle the appeals process.
Is that it? Thank you, Jamie. So next, come on up and ask your question.
Answer about if somebody else is driving the vehicle.
Oh,
Did
right,
you answer that?
if the violators.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then, again, the statute says that the citation goes to the registered owner. If they want to contest and say it wasn't me, and they can prove otherwise to the city, then that it was their kid or their spouse, whoever it may be, then they can do that. So again, it's an appeals process that goes through the statutes, not through our system.
exactly do you prove that? So Gil can still prove it
Can you, guys, you gotta come up. You gotta come up and ask your questions. Jamie, no, oh yeah,
Yeah, I think
just
go that way and let people.
Sure.
So if no one pays their, I just wanna make sure I understand, if no one pays their tickets, how are you guys getting paid?
We charge the services. So if people, when people pay, ours is a cost neutral product, okay? It means that we only charge for what is ultimately paid, okay? So if nobody pays, then yeah,
How are you
that
guys
would be a
getting
problem, yes. That would be a problem, yes. That's, I'm
How do
being
you
totally
resolve
honest with
that
you.
problem if nobody pays?
We're taking that gamble.
Okay.
Compliance rate in most of the state right now is 70%. It's pretty high. Yeah, I know.
Biddy Ray Hill Road. How many cameras are we talking about in our town?
Don't know yet.
You have no idea?
Originally, when we were talking about it, we talked about 3. They did 3 tests in 3 different roads. But I mean, it's gonna be up to, what the board says and what you all say, and
And are
it's not
these,
determined.
a lot of what he's talked about is that being state roads,
Can be on state roads.
but not necessarily, because you name, I think everybody here probably has a speeding problem on their road,
Sure.
but we're not gonna have cameras on all these roads. So there's only gonna be, average, what does this town our size have for cameras?
Again, based on the studies that we ran initially with the city, there was 3 locations that were selected by your city, not by me.
Yes,
So
no, I'm
that's-
just saying, what's
And in
the
a
average?
bi-directional location, you have to have 2 cameras per location. So if you wanted to run it in both ways, both directions, they have to have 2 cameras. So if they went through all 3, based on the study that we provide to DOT, they would have 6.
So that's 3 cameras is not gonna do anything for all those roads that, except for 3 roads in the town.
Right.
I mean,
Unless they put more. You have 20 cameras around town. Do you want that?
no, I don't. I don't want any of them, but I mean, like, the whole thing is to, you know, curb the speeding, but it doesn't seem like, and I understand this is only one aspect of that, but it's only gonna cover a small area of our town. And somewhere along the line, there's gotta be a fee associated with
But you
this.
could put those cameras,
All right,
say,
that's,
in a
you
school
got either
zone.
come up or we can't do this, because the person, so just so you all know, there's somebody who's gonna do the minutes from this meeting, and she's writing down that you said your name and you said what you said, and it's gonna be in the minutes. So we want to document what you say, and it's important for what you say, because the next board will use this information. So please, if you would just come up, state your name, Tyler, and ask whatever you want to say.
I apologize in advance. I'm a little fired up. I'm gonna try to stay calm. I don't even really, all due respect, thanks for coming. You're a salesman. We are gonna talk to the politicians because they're the ones who are here for us, right?
Tyler, state your name and address.
Tyler Semro, 36 North Mudis Road. I'm the founder of Superhero Training Corps. We do the cleanups in town.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler.
None of what he said was positive. The first slide was 5 things he's heard from everywhere he's been, and he agreed with every single one of them. He also said people are going to continue to speed no matter what, and it depends on compliance of people paying their citations. A penalty of a dollar amount is a penalty on the poor only, so that's discriminatory. You cannot legislate behavior at all. It cannot be done. You can police it. And if I was going to ask a question, I'd ask the 2 gentlemen here, how many more police officers do we need in town to adequately service the town in all of the ways of like public safety, traffic, being able to walk your dog? All these things are important to these people and me. I have kids in town too. That's the main stuff. The mock-up steal the views. We got plenty of good views in town. We don't need to put signs all down these roads for a half mile to steal more of them. We got plenty enough. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Tyler. Anybody want to address any of that? State your name and address, please.
Maureen Pearson, 82 Millington Road. When you are saying that this is cost neutral, can you describe that completely? Because if these cameras are free to just put up around our town, and if it slows the traffic down and nobody is getting a ticket, who is paying for these cameras? And you say they're neutral, what does that mean?
Yeah, so we do not charge the city over and above what ultimately is collected from the compliance rate of the citations.
So you're going to install the cameras
Yes.
completely free.
Yes.
You're going to maintain them completely free. You're going to store the data on the cloud, and someone at the FBI is going to look at it for completely free. And if we get 15 tickets of $75, then the town gets that money. And then what's the $15 fee?
The $15 fee is a statutorial compliance that you guys can charge as a processing fee over and above on top of the actual $50 fine, the first one and the second one, which is $75. Ultimately, the city can charge that. That's what pays for most of the system that is going to be in place. But again, it's all based on compliance. So it's based on if people pay their tickets, not based on
Okay,
what
so
I'm charging you
the
outright.
first week we get 100 tickets. The second week we have 0. Now, who's paying for this system? It's costing somebody something. It really is
I'm taking care of that. Yes.
okay, thank you.
Please state your name and address.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Name is Eugene Peterson, 21 Ridge Road, East Haddam. So I apologize. I missed most of your presentation. I was driving the speed limit trying to get here. My question is, we talked about state roads and town roads. Who's going to decide what town roads these devices go on?
You will.
Okay. Do we have any say on where they go on state roads?
Yeah.
And when we do have an infraction on a town road, money goes to the town. How about on a state road?
Goes to the town.
As well. So the state of Connecticut doesn't get anything out of this?
Separate control.
Okay. All right, that's my question. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chris Curtin, 273 Town Street, East Haddam. We know Middletown's a great example because they've implemented this, and we would assume they've done their due diligence with the town people. But this morning on the news, Channel 3, comes up that they are questioning the legality of the whole thing now. So I mean, is East Haddam ready for the liability involved in taking on something like this, so soon after? Where what happens if it's judged unconstitutional? Who's going to give us our money back? I mean, who's liable to pay us back all the fines? Not to mention the thousands of fines that could be totally unconstitutional, discovering that the calibration's off. So you got a 1 year calibration. Suppose the day after calibration, the thing goes out, and you don't calibrate them for a year. How many tickets do you think we'll collect during that period?
It all depends on the traffic studies that ultimately come through.
How many people would have illegitimate tickets?
I don't know. You don't have any illegitimate tickets.
Say maybe 20,000. 20,000. Let me take a wild guess.
Again, I don't want to be combative with anybody, guys. I'm a tool. You guys make the rules. I just live inside those rules from a tool standpoint. I don't make any decisions on where they go. I don't make any decisions on how you can test your tickets. I am just a system. That's all I am.
All right, that's all I have right now.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Melissa Jepperin. I live at 181 Petticoat Lane. I have two questions. The first is, when you get a speeding ticket from a police officer, DMV is notified, then your insurance is notified. So my question to you is, are these speeding tickets going to be reportable to people's car insurance policies, which would then trigger, I assume, raising rates and other things? So what is the communication for people's insurance policies?
Statutorily, it is a civil violation, so it does not go any points on your record for DMV, as well as it does not hit your insurance.
And could the state legislature change that policy to, in fact, automatically mandate that those things actually then are reported to an insurance company? The answer is yes, right?
It's a possibility, again.
And then my next question is, on the legislative process for our town, having a public hearing does not automatically instigate the fact that we're going to send this to a referendum. We're simply at a public hearing. I want to confirm our process in town would be that the Board of Selectmen then would vote to send it to a referendum. So the Board of Selectmen could actually not take any action at all, and therefore would not go to a referendum. Is that accurate?
Kill it.
What is he saying?
Mary Beth Mordecai, 1 Lakeview Road. So you read maybe 8 or 9 little pieces of paper that you had. I want to know, I live on a little road, we have no speeding, but I know there's bad speeding in town. Sometimes I'm guilty. What happens to the people, I think that you said East Haddam, Colchester a couple times, and you said Ray Hill a couple times, and so what happens when Ray Hill doesn't get it and Colchester Turnpike gets it? I would think that there would become a lot of animosity between people on how their road doesn't get chosen because they're speeding everywhere. So that's very concerning to me. Unless you do 10 cameras somewhere, then that's 20 cameras. Then we got cameras all over our beautiful town. Those things. So that just would be an interesting meeting, I think.
I am Lance Salonia, 70 Main Street, East Haddam. And I'm actually for it, and I'll tell you why. I forget my notes back, they just left.
Go to the next person.
Okay, here we go. As I said, I'm at 70 Main Street. And it's part of the village, which is supposed to be, you're walkable, whatever, and very small roads, ancient roads, etc. Well, the speed limit's 30 miles an hour. I don't think I've seen anyone go 30 miles an hour there except for those of us who live on that street.
We can't discuss back and forth because we can't hear it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
continue.
Yeah, so in any case, I think we'd say our average speed there, and it's because it's a state route, is between 50 and 60 miles an hour. And here's what scares me about that. Here are the stats. Survival rates by speed. 20 miles per hour, you have a 90% chance of surviving. You're a pedestrian, a car is going 20 miles an hour, hits you, you have 90% chance of surviving. 30 miles per hour, that drops to 50% chance of surviving the accident. That's at 30, which is our speed limit, which apparently, even if this gets passed, it won't be enforced at 30. 40 miles per hour, you only have a 10 to 20% chance of surviving getting hit. 50 miles per hour, you have a 10% chance of living. So, that's all pretty scary. And I don't think people realize that, people try and live their lives, walk their dogs, walk their children, whatever. And they're just, of course, they're in a rush, and we all are, but some of these roads really, they need to slow down on. And the reason they're saying speed makes such a difference is increased impact force, obvious, that's the obvious one. Also, reduced reaction time. It just takes you that much longer to see someone when you're going faster, and longer stopping distances. It just takes a lot longer. The other thing I want to mention is I'm from the area originally, but I've been living in Washington, D.C. for a long time now. And we've had this in place since 2001. That's a quarter century that we've had it in place. And yeah, I got a ticket the first year. And I actually got it in neighboring Maryland because they did the same thing. And they have been so effective. It's changed driver behavior like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we all are much more respectful of the people now who happen to be walking on the side of the road, and it decreased accidents. And I mean, I think one question keeps coming up, how are only 3 cameras going to work? Well, yeah, and at first I knew where the cameras were placed in DC. I didn't know Maryland, that's why I got one in Maryland. But within a year or 2 or 3, they started adding more cameras. The program pays for itself. You're asking what the money's going to do, what charity it's going to go to. Well, it's going to go to us. It's going to go to pay more cameras. And in the end, I don't know where all the cameras are. And wherever I'm driving in the DC area now, I just obey that speed limit because I know that I don't want to get a ticket. I do know I'm glad it's not going to go on my insurance if I get it. That's just a fine. But, none of us want to pay a fine. Just like, we'll go to the store and we'll bring shopping bags, so we don't have to pay that 10-cent fee. Even if it's not a lot, we don't want to fine. So it definitely changes behavior for the better. So I'm just going to say I'm for it. And just so you know where things are going, DC just changed its rules. So local roads are all 20 miles an hour. And the main roads, like Connecticut Avenue, which if any of you have been to DC, I'm sure you've seen Connecticut Avenue, which is a main in and out, goes all the way to Maryland and all that, 25 miles an hour. So that's kind of where it's going across the country. So the fact that, we're all speeding around here 50 or 60, I don't think that's going to last, hopefully. So
I'm going to switch over to this side.
Sure. Graham Lane, Landing Hill Road. I think my question first is for you, and then probably for the officers. But in this piece of handout, you're saying that you're setting the violation limit at 15 over the speed limit. And I think the state says 10 over. Is that correct?
Yes.
Officers?
I'm not sure what the statute says for the state.
I think it's 10 over. So I'm not sure why we're adding 5 miles an hour over it. Because the reason is I asked that I live on Landing Hill, which is 25. You've effectively raised the speed limit to 40 miles an hour. On the roads coming into town, which are 35, you've effectively raised the speed limit to 50. I think that's obscene.
Yep. And I appreciate how you feel. And the ordinance that you guys are all looking at is a sample ordinance that what they're using in Washington. This is a suggested ordinance that we looked at the Board of
Our
Selectmen.
roads, as small, as narrow as they are, they're absolutely ridiculous to even consider those.
And that's fine. And the Board of Selectmen can look at it and decide after the hearing and after multiple hearings, if you end up having multiple hearings, that it should be reduced to 10 or should be reduced to 5 over, or it should be reduced to the speed limit.
5 overs going up and down a hill. No. 15 is insane.
Go ahead.
My name is Andrew Sigmano, and I sent you a letter, but
It's here. I just haven't gotten to the letters yet.
that's okay. So After listening to all the speakers and listening to you, and so I've changed my position, so don't read my letter.
Give it back to you.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it could be good. I think we're, speeding is a big problem, and I think we're looking in the wrong direction to solve the problem. Because there are speeding laws on the books, and the problem is, see, if anything, we should have these officers stand up here and ask them what do they need to enforce the speeding laws in town, like. Unenforceable, and it's a law. It's already on the books. So how can the community support the police officers so that they can enforce the laws that are there already? So that's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Andrew.
We're looking in the wrong direction.
How you guys doing? My name is Max Gruner. I don't even know why we're debating this. I'm an immigrant from Poland. I lived under communism. Surveillance was very big under communism. This is how it starts. This is how it starts. It starts with one camera. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. And I think we should have an actual police officer here in town. We don't need cameras to do surveillance on us and check up on us. Because next thing is gonna be a visit to your door, looking through your private property like they did back in Poland, and then you go missing. They never find you. I know you laugh. Go ahead, keep laughing, but that's how it was. And I came here in 1984. I lived there for 10 years.
Here too.
You know, so, and I heard we had to close our blinds. We couldn't talk. You know, there was propaganda everywhere, and there was surveillance. They came to your door, they knocked on your door and asked you questions. That's how America will be if you guys allow this to happen with cameras everywhere, surveillance everywhere. That's just me. Thank you for listening.
My name's Tom Miller, 6 Oriole Road. Kind of a different angle at this. How many years have we had a police force? Like 2008 or something like that, I think?
Well, we've always had police coverage through our
It
troopers.
became an actual police force.
Police force started, Jeff?
Yeah, it was, well, we had part-time officers down here for many, many years.
Right.
And we've always had the resident trooper program, at least for as long as I know.
Exactly, but I remember the big fight about.
So that was 2013 is when we hired our first full-timers.
Okay. So we had what, 6?
At our highest number of full-timers was 5.
5.
Yeah.
All right. And we're down to 2?
Well, no, right now we have 4 full-timers. We have 3 part-timers. 2 of our full-timers, Dave and myself. Dave is our school resource officer. So that's his primary duty is to the schools. And I am, I do all the administrative stuff thanks to the Police Accountability Act and accreditation.
So I guess the point I'm getting at is back then I was against this full-time police force. I thought we had a fine deal going. And got overwhelmed, that's fine. We got a police force. My taxes went up $500 a year that year. I'm sure everybody else's did too. They haven't gone down. Our service has gone down. Not your guys' fault. I'm just saying they're not what it was. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 police force. It's expensive. It's a better way to combat this problem, I think. They're moving around, they do their thing, you don't know, come over a hill, there they are, bang. And trust me, I drive truck for a living. And that comment you made, I got something else for that. I've been doing it 45 years, I've got a complete safe record. Have I got tickets? Yeah. Yeah, it's not enough time here to describe it. But this, just like the gentleman from Poland there said, just starts rolling. And now we got cameras here, here, and here. And it was already mentioned how East Haddam, Colchester Turnpike gets one and Ray Hill doesn't. I want one in front of my house too. If he's got one, I want one. We're gonna have 3,000 cameras here. And nothing against you, but you still couldn't answer the question. What do you make per ticket if that's how you get paid? When I pay that $75 ticket, how much does your company make?
Our services are charged at $13.50.
Okay, well, that's the first time I heard that, unless I missed it. So, that's pretty much all I got.
Thank you.
David Scott, 283 Mount Parnassus Road, and I have technical questions. What method do you use to measure the speed?
It's LiDAR-based technology.
I'm sorry, what?
LiDAR-based technology.
LiDAR.
Yes, LiDAR.
I'm familiar with Doppler and laser from my days as a cop. So is it similar to laser?
It's similar to laser, yes.
Okay. When does the camera record my speed?
Only when you go over the allotted speed limit. So if it's
So
statutorily, it's 10 miles an hour, it triggers at 10. So if you're under 10, it won't trigger. If they do it at 15, it won't trigger until it hits 15.
Okay, so I won't be, okay, I understand that. The equipment that you use for the cameras, has that been vetted against the federal regulations about stuff, since it's connected network-wide, it would be like from Chinese cameras and whatnot, that there's the worry about at a federal level of those being security risks, and we don't buy from them because it's like that one cell phone that's not been allowed in this country because.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if there's any of those types of regulations for these types of cameras. I can check on that if you want.
Well, it's not so much that there's regulation, is that they're coming from China. My personal thought is they shouldn't be used because you can't trust the Chinese government to say that that's clean and that's what takes place. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Got nobody over this side? Okay.
Mike Martinelli, 21 Neptune Ave. Just a couple questions about cost and data. So as far as the data that this cameras capture, in the ordinance it says basically non-personally identifying data, and all that gets wiped clean in 30 days. What about the non-identifiable data? Like 20 Subarus drove down this road today. That marketing companies love that kind of data. They pay money for it. Do you guys sell that data?
We do not sell the data. It is contractually obligated for us to, if we are going to share data, or we don't want to share data with anything like that, period. The only time we would share data is to like go to a records management system that the police officers use. But that would be the only time. But again, we need permission contractually by the city to share that. It is your data.
As far as cost, so these cameras, they cost money. You say cost neutral, there's a price tag. Like it costs money to make those cameras. Okay, somewhere I read, I think each camera costs about $23,000. And if you're getting $13 a ticket, that means you need to find 1,700 drivers to break even on that cost at one camera. That's a fifth of our population. And then what happens when you go to 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 10,000 people? You guys are making money hand over fist. So this is not about safety. This is about you making money. That's it. Because companies don't care about our safety. They care about making money.
Statutorily, again, it goes back to the city if they want to implement this. All the fine amounts that are collected through the city, statutorily, it has to go back into traffic safety anyways.
I'm talking about just your $13, just at your $13.
Yes, my services have a cost.
So, and then like another gentleman was saying, basically now every time you guys make more money, more cameras, more cameras. So the end game here is just to have more and more cameras everywhere.
That's up to your legislation.
That's going to be the end game. So I just want to state that. Thank you.
Come on up.
Back cable, 165 road number 2. Howdy neighbor.
So one of my issues is 25 mile per hour to 35 mile per hour. And this is my fault probably, but in my habits of driving, especially in East Haddam, one of the things I taught my children in East Haddam is like when you get your driver's license, it says drive on the white line. Whereas in East Haddam, if you drive on the white line, you're gonna hit a tree. We have to drive damn near to the center of the road. That means we have to be watching the road. I'm not watching my speedometer. So if I'm driving down the road at 25 mile per hour, my speed can drift. So to your point about the 10 mile per hour, that 10 mile per hour is kind of unfair when you just got off a highway that was 65 to 75 mile an hour, because if you're not doing 75 mile an hour in Connecticut, you get run over. And we all know that. It's the speed limit, the de facto speed limit in Connecticut is between 65 and 74 mile per hour. That's the de facto speed limit. You come off, you're doing that, and now you have to drive by the speed of your car to feel what your car feels like, to know that you're doing 25 or 35 mile per hour. That's a hard thing to do on a daily basis all the time without looking at your speedometer. So therefore, what we're doing is we're taxing all of our citizenry for trying to be honest, but sometimes we just can't, because we're trying to watch the fact that I just drove by coming in here today, like my wife said, dog. Literally never even saw the dog until we were right on the dog. Now, I don't know if there was a human attached to that dog, but I was not driving over speed limit at the time. So the reality is in order to navigate these roads, I could go and point probably 20 trees that don't have bark on them because they're sitting right on the road. I could show you mailboxes that aren't standing because they're right on the road. We don't have shoulders. And on top of that, we don't have lights. So we have no way. And one thing is a problem that we have in town is people do have the right to walk their dog, but they don't wear reflective clothing. They wear black. And sometimes you're driving, and I know I'm under the speed limit, but the roads are, especially like Bashan Road, those roads are so windy. If you follow the so-called way to walk against traffic, you're coming around some of those turns, and the person is literally right there, and you're doing 20 mile an hour. So therefore, the people that all those notes that you got, a lot of those notes are probably not because the person was driving fast. It's because the person was right on top of them before anybody saw anybody. So these traffic cameras are not fair to the residents of this town that are just trying to navigate these roads. These roads are not safe just by the nature of these roads. These cameras are not going to change that. These cameras are not going to make these roads safer by taxing people. And those roads, I guarantee all those roads, none of those roads are probably where the cameras are going to go. The cameras are going to go on the main road between Ballacks and between here and the Town Street, or where the schools are. So what about all these other roads that you mentioned? It's just not going to fix that. It is not going to fix that. And the other thing I have a problem with is, one thing is, to your point about the cameras, apparently you don't know about camera apps, because you can drive down the road now and you have an app that will tell you where every one of these cameras are at all times and tell you to slow down. So the fact of the matter is, you don't have to pay attention. You have the cameras coming on your app on your maps. If you use Waze or it will tell you where the camera's at. It'll tell you to slow down without those signs. So the cameras are ineffective. And then the other thing, no disrespect to you, you're in business to make money, as everybody said, but your concept of net zero is only going to last as long as until you get your cameras into our town. Because there's no way you're putting your cameras in our town, and the moment you don't start getting revenue, to sit there and say, oh, well, we're going to continue to do this for free for the rest of our life. No, you're not. You're going to come back to the legislature, you're going to come back to us, and you're going to say you need to start charging a fee. We already pay too much taxes in this town for what we get. And the fact of the matter is, you're going to charge us more money, and it happens every time. There has never been a tax in history of any government that's ever gone away. And the fact of the matter is, you're going to end up getting your tax in here, and that's what it is. It's a tax on us. You're going to get your tax in here, and it will not go away. It will never go away. And you'll sit there and you'll cry, oh, you'll cry poverty, and you'll end up getting money. You're already got your foot in the door. You got the wolf in sheep's clothing, and you're already in the door, and then you're going to just end up going and coming back and crying about the cameras. And then there's not going to be a politician that's going to be willing to say, oh yeah, take them out. There's no politician will ever do that because they'll be on the news, oh, he got rid of them, and the poor girl almost got hit by a truck. You know, it's not going to happen. You're going to end up taxing us more money. So I didn't really have a question, obviously. I just had a lot of statements. I mean, I originally had some questions because one of the things I wanted to know was the revenue. I'm sorry, I keep hitting you. But the revenue should go to reduce our taxes because you're not going to be able to fix the roads here. No matter, you can put crosswalks all through this place. It will not make our roads wider. Our roads are wide, windy, and bouncy. And the fact is, if you're not paying attention to the roads, you will hit somebody. And the fact that we have not, can anybody tell me, when was the last time somebody in our town was hit by a car? Then that's my point. So we're paying attention to the roads in this town. We're not paying attention to our speedometers. So do we sometimes go over the speed limit? Yes. Is it always intentional? No. I'm telling you right now, it's not always intentional. I have, ever since we started talking about these cameras, trying to use my cruise control. One of the things that doesn't work really good is a cruise control doesn't like 25 mile per hour. It does not like to be on at 25 mile per hour. So you can't try to be compliant with the law without going over the law with a cruise control. Because you have to go over the law to set the cruise, because we don't have to go. But at any rate, that's all I have. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hopefully we bounce on.
Want to state your name and your address and give a comment?
15 Banner Road. 1972, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Put us on the oil standard. Something else happened that year too. We got rid of lead paint. And saying it was hazardous, kids were eating the paint chips. That wasn't the case.
That's right.
It was because it was a good barrier. And penetrating radio signals in and out of the house. Good Faraday cage. And it was the beginning of all the stuff coming together. So when they say that they're not going to share this stuff, police agencies use it without a warrant. It links up to the flock cameras.
That's right.
Flock, they're actually mocking us by saying it. Flock. Okay? Don't believe what he tells you, okay? It's a private company, all right? And they're a government contractor. It's just like no different than an electric boat. They're with one customer, the government. Well, they're not selling speed cameras to residents. They're not selling speed cameras to anybody else but government agencies. Okay? They have professional corporate people who teach them and coach them how to answer and give you answers. They already know what questions they're going to see. This isn't the first time sitting before a town hall. They already know all the questions that we're going to be asking tonight. All right? And they're coached on how to handle them and how to smooth things over. Okay? So they tell you, oh, it's going to help at an Amber Alert. Name one child that was found through one of these camera systems.
Yes.
Tell that to the woman of the Columbine Valley Police Department, who was served by a sergeant out there, and summons to court saying that she stole a package off a porch. Take one look at this woman, and you know that she's no porch pirate. Okay? She had to do her own, gather her own surveillance camera footage off her vehicle in her house to present a case to the chief of police, and after reviewing it, said, nicely done, we'll drop this right now. But it was guilty till proven innocent because her car was the only vehicle that went down that street during that time frame. So the cop didn't think that anybody could walk through the woods, didn't bother to look into her story, and served her with a summons. I mean, that's piss poor police work, but unfortunately, he didn't do his due diligence. And, you know, our lives are busy enough as it is, and this is the kind of stuff you're going to be up against. And it goes further and further than that. And if you think that this isn't coming down the line with a social credit score, Take a trip to communist China. You know what? You might not have a good social credit score, and you want to bring it up. You can't bring it up any higher than this. Well, guess what? Turn in your guns. Or you're locked out of the grocery store, or you can't get credit, or you can't get car insurance. It's the beginning of the end. I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I can throw him.
Are you up?
Speaking of trust.
Are you up, sir?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were asking a question. Go ahead. I'm just trying to go back and forth. I'm not sure who's in line and who's not. Nice.
Yeah, Jim Gleba, Creek Row. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I'd be curious to hear what our police officers have to say. I don't know what capacity they're here tonight, and if they're willing to share, I would like to hear what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's called the spot.
Yeah, right. So what
Thank you.
are you looking for, whether we would like this program or not, or?
Yeah, your personal feeling, if you feel this.
My personal feeling is, having worked in this town for as long as I have, I think that we do have a speeding problem. I think that we've always had a speeding problem, and I think it's up to everybody in this room to come up with a solution. Well, not just everybody in this room, but everybody in this town. We have limited resources. We can't just throw our police officers on every road in this town. I don't think there's a solution. Not an easy one. It's gonna have to be everybody in this town lead by example by not speeding in your neighborhood. That's where we probably have to begin. It costs a lot to outfit a police department. If you guys are looking to hire more police officers, one more police officer isn't gonna do it. One more police car is not gonna do it. One more radar set, one more laser set's not gonna do it. This system, the reason I was interested in this is because it's one more tool that we can use. It's a way to be visible. It's a way to get people's attention. What I like most about this system is if we're ticketing people after a month, after 5 months, after a year of it being out there, who are we ticketing? We're ticketing people who aren't paying attention or are paying attention to the speed limit, but choose to speed anyways. So those people deserve tickets. We can't be everywhere. This camera system can't be everywhere. But there's ways I think that we can be creative to maybe affect people who are coming in and out of this town, using this town as a cut through to get to Route 9. But I think this is just one more tool that we can use. But again, you guys are the ones who live in this town. You're the ones who are going to be seeing this every day. It's really up to you citizens to decide whether or not you want this tool to be used or you want to come up with something else.
Pay officer roads, lead by example, because one car is in front of another. If you're driving the speed limit, it's harder for the next person behind you to not drive the speed limit.
You're right.
Good, great choice. Lead
You're
by
right.
example. Love it.
Okay, we can't have a conversation like that. I'm sorry. Diana?
Diana Zuckerman, 59 East Shore Drive. I just have a detailed kind of question. You showed a picture of the QR code on a ticket. What is that? Can you mention again? What does that show when I take a picture of it?
It takes you to a citizen portal, allows you to pay and contest your violation.
Does it have like other personal information about myself?
Takes you to a website, like, any barcodes do on ads and things like that. Yeah.
So Colchester delivers my mail, and they're constantly messing up. All the time, I get other people. Speak up a little
Louder.
So I imagine that there's mail that I should be getting that I don't get, because they're constantly messing up. Let's say I get one of those tickets, but it doesn't come to me, it goes somewhere else, and I don't know that I got it. What happens then if I don't know that I have to pay something?
Nothing.
Well, do I get like some other kind of penalty? Like, so then nobody has to pay a ticket then,
Correct.
and then nothing happens.
Correct.
Okay, so how are we gonna stop speeding?
Good question.
Because some people will open the mail and get their mail and they will pay the ticket. They will slow down maybe next time when they go buy the camera. Maybe. Again, as Jeff just said, it's a tool.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Chris Wendell. I live at 46 Main Street. And I don't know how many of you drive on Main Street on a regular basis. Some of you may or may not, I don't know. But anyway, bottom line is I live there. But people drive on the speed limit on Main Street is 30 miles an hour, which is slow, okay? It's slow going. When you drive 30 miles an hour, you say, my God, this is slow. And it is. But bottom line, that's the speed limit. Now, we did have some speed indicator signs put up about a month ago or something like that. And those have some impact. They appear to have some impact on people speeding. Because we watch those and people do tend to tap their brakes. They do tend to slow a little bit. Now, there's nothing associated with it. It's just simply saying that you're doing 35 or you're doing 40 or you're doing 25. It's just telling you what it's or something else. So I guess I'm just saying that on Main Street, it is a problem. You just come out crossing the bridge, coming up past the Gelston. It's a residential area. It's old homes that have been there for centuries, but people drive really fast on it. And the woman back here made a comment, I think, just a moment ago about, well, if you slow down, then the people behind you will slow down. Well,
Yeah, they do too. No, they don't.
or they'll pass. And I have a fast car, okay? I have the ability to drive very, very fast, but I will drive 25 or 30 on our street. Well, the people behind me don't like that, okay? They don't like it at all. And they ride my ass, and unless I pull over or speed up, they really just don't like it. But just this past week, I had an incident where I was driving southbound, kind of from the landing, going towards the Gelston, and I went to flip on my left turn signal to turn into my driveway. Well, the one guy had been on my butt, for quite a while. But anyway, right then on Main Street, he decides he's going to pass me at the time when I'm going to take a left turn into my driveway. Well, I saw him. I didn't hit him. Nothing happened. But it was close. And this was on a small road, like we discussed. There's no curbs. There's sporadic sidewalks, and all of a sudden this he'd had enough of me, and he says, I'm getting out of here. And so he flies past me and does pass me on the left side and it just happened to be at that very moment that I was going to turn left into my driveway. But I'm just pointing out that there are some roads in this town. It's a big town, and granted you can't govern all of it, but there are some roads in this town that really do need speed reductions on them. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Paul Barrett. I live on One Deer Run. I heard a lot of conversation here tonight about everybody sees what the problem is. When I saw the article in the paper, my BS radar went on. My BS radar tells me this guy's going to make money, and the town is going to try and make money, and it's just another way of taxing us. And the only reason he's doing it, he's sitting there, it's all free. Come on. Everyone in this room knows there's no such thing as a free lunch. And I've been in sales most of my life, and there's always the thing that I'm reminded of. Do you know how to tell when a salesman's lying? His lips are moving. And that's what we're getting here. And the politician is just a politician. They couldn't care less about that. They just want to make the money difference. It's a revenue stream that they're going to generate. They can't get enough out of us in taxes, so they're going to get this revenue stream in another way. It's all about money. I don't care how much safety they talk about. I don't care how much good they think it will do. It won't do that much good in the end. People are going to speed. Like gentleman over there that had the problem on Main Street, that problem will never go away. People just speed, and there's nothing that's going to be done about it. except they're gonna raise money in the meantime from those that they can catch in a proper time. If it doesn't go to referendum, shame on us.
I just wanted to say if there's any other questions specific to DACRA, these guys have to go because they have to get to another meeting. So I just want to, if there's anybody in the room that has a particular question, otherwise we can keep going. And just so you all know, we actually have a public meeting happening. We have to accept 2 grants tonight, and that's happening at 8 o'clock. So we're going to stop this at about 5 of. So our town clerk can come in. She's going to convene the meeting. We'll do a quick vote on whether or not you guys want to accept some free money into town, and then we can get back to the hearing. So just so you know that that's kind of the time frame of what we have working with us today.
Mary, about 25 Lakeview Road. I just want to say, I don't really know exactly how I feel about this, but I really don't think it's a money grab from the town. Like, I just don't see how much money they could get out of it to go through all this hullabaloo. So I just wanted to kind of stick up for the town a little bit.
Thanks very much. And somebody back there, you said you had a question about for DACRA?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dalton, 33 Olmsted.
Thank you for saying.
We all agree that there is a speeding problem. We all know that these detectors, these automatic things, they're coming one way or another, and the police need help. So my question for you, sir, is what do they do to actually stop the dangerous drivers? Like, for instance, somebody just died on my road the other day. We haven't gotten the information whether they were actually speeding, probably where they were from out of town. So these are targeted at people who are typically in the town. More often, it's going to hit our townsfolk more than everybody else. The real problems that I see on my road, East Haddam Colchester Turnpike, with my kids driving down there, are the people from out of town that are just there one off day. What's your speed device going to do for these one-off people that don't care on a motorcycle, probably without a plate, to slow these guys down?
They will be cited and obviously
How
not
would they
learn
be
to cite
cited
again.
if they don't, either can't see their plate, don't have a plate, plate's covered? There's plenty of people in town that drive around actually with no plates on, and I'm not sure why they get away with it. But
Again, it goes back to
if,
the law
if they don't
enforcement.
have a plate on it, what's your,
It would be rejected. It can't be put into a court of law from due process standpoint, but also at the same time, then these guys are gonna know, like, hey, we got some people running around with no plates on. They're gonna go sit out there.
so it's
another
actually not
tool.
gonna do anything for the dangerous people that are coming from out of town?
I don't really understand the question, to be honest with you.
Question was whether or not they
Out
could
of
do
towners,
anything
if there's a
for
plate,
an out-of-towner speeder that's going significantly over the speed limit. We're not worried about somebody going 5, maybe 10 on a bump or something. We're worried about the really dangerous 60 down to 35, you know.
They will be cited, and then they will understand not to be speeding in that area again. That's the idea of the entire program. That's why this was
How are they gonna be
statutorily
cited
brought up.
if they aren't caught, and if there's not a cop on the road? They come through that, this guy was from Madison, came through the road probably the first time this month, died running into somebody going too fast. Speeding camera probably wasn't gonna affect him, was it? So my next question is, does your company offer automatic ticketing solutions? Because these things are coming, whether we like them or not. And they do actually slow those of us who aren't trying to speed down when it tells you, hey, you're going a little bit too fast. Even myself, oh shoot, I'm going that fast. To help the police, just for everybody else, it seems like since they're coming anyways, we need the solution. Does your company offer a solution that can, I think they're called radar speedback cameras, to give the information like yours does to the police as the tool you're talking about? Give them a tool without the automatic keeping track of everybody that almost everybody here is worried about.
Like more of a radar feedback sign that
Radar
to
feedback.
know where your people are speeding.
Yeah.
I believe you have some in your town through the T2 program currently.
So your company doesn't do that?
The partnering company that sells the cameras, they also sell those radar feedback actually through T2 through Connecticut.
Alright. But they probably not gonna do any, what do we do about people without the license plates? It's not gonna do anything for them, right?
Again, it'd be like the same case scenario for them for the law enforcement, so.
So everybody in town has a blocker on them and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
And now all of a sudden you're dealing with law enforcement. If they pull you over, that's a totally different discussion then.
So, not to take any more of his time, to speak to the crowd, seems like almost everybody here is against the camera, mostly because it's automatically sending you a ticket and getting your information. We need to do something about the speeding. My opinion is we need more officers, give officers more tools, put more of these speedback signs without the automatic on top of it.
So my question is directly for you. My
State
name-
your name and address.
That's the reason I said no at first, because there's one
Oh.
person in this room who knows who I am. I'm Mark Graham Mason. I live at Woodmont Circle. I've lived there for 20 years and nobody knows. I don't know anybody. Anyhow, so I have been the proud recipient of 2 of these tickets through Middletown, 2 cars that are owned by me, but I wasn't driving. So my understanding is, and there's 2 parts. My understanding is that if you don't pay it, you won't be able to register your car next year, so your registration's held hostage. Is that, no? Okay.
Incorrect.
Second thing is, I paid these 2 tickets, and when I paid them, I pulled out the QR code, scanned it with my phone, which is a unique identifier. I then added in my credit card information to pay the ticket. Now you have my credit card information. I know you say it's secure, I know you say it's fine, Amazon told me the same thing. So what do you guys do about it? Like, what happens with it? You now know who I am, you have my phone data.
So we have your credit card data is what your.
Credit card data and my unique identifier. Every phone has a unique serial number. Once I scan that QR code, you know what serial number.
Yeah, it's the city's data. It is a system that is comprised and is their data. They do with what they please.
They do with what they please. Okay, I'll take that.
Mike Massey, 51 Davison Road. It's not even a question for you. You can take a break.
I have to go anyway, so yeah, respectfully.
Thank you for you.
Thank you, Brandon, for
Oh, let
coming.
him do his question for him fast and then.
Oh, no, yours applies to him.
Age before beauty.
I challenge you on that.
His wife might be.
Okay. I heard this gentleman mention Flock. And are you affiliated with Flock?
We are not.
Now, is your database shared?
We are not affiliated with Flock.
Now, you're a private company, correct? So you could be sold, or you could be bought. Let's say you could be bought by the biggest company, Flock. So now they've got all our data, right? Now, I did some research on Flock, and what I understand is there's over 4,800 law enforcement agencies who pay something in the area of about $1,500 to access the database. So they use it. And then there's another 1,000 or more currently that pay into Flock to access retail and insurance company related information from the database. So what's to guarantee that your company won't be bought by some company like that? And then they're, like you said, everything's limited to 30 days and then they just throw the database away. But what's to keep it from being purchased out by you're a private company, right?
Yes.
So you could be bought, and now all this stuff is owned by another big, huge company that can go in and across the country. You know how it works, right?
And it's a repository system. It is your data. You do it with what you please. It's in the contract. It's your data. It's the town's data.
The gentleman over here said that like he could look on his phone and see where all the cameras are, so it's shared everywhere.
It's a location that's submitted by DOT, not by me.
The government has the
Sold.
information. You guys said, okay,
So it's, yeah, I mean, you don't hold it to yourself.
I don't sell any data to anybody.
Yeah. So your rates
thank
go
you.
up, right?
Does he have what he needs? This picture address?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Is that your laptop or that's
No.
That's ours. All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk.
Again, Mike Massey, 51 Davison Road. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's, I think, a couple of the first speed monitoring things were located at Beebe Road. I believe now there's only one because one was stolen. They were donated with the intention, because I'm pretty sure that they record data and we were going to be able to retrieve that data and see what the general speed was on that road and stuff like that. They've been up for, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, 3 years, 4 years? Have we looked into any of that data? Those could be moved. It involves digging one hole, but they've spent their entire 4-year career on the thoroughfare of Beebe Road. Why can't we move those to obtain some better information, like on Colchester Turnpike, which is a speeding road? I don't understand why they're living their entire life on Beebe Road. When it involves digging one hole, there's solar panels, when it involves digging one hole and putting it on the side of the road. And I realize we only have one now because one was stolen.
So that's a DOT affiliated camera speed thing, and it's a study that DOT is doing on Beebe Road. So that's why it's been there, and that's why it's been there forever. When we initially looked into this particular program, we had cameras on Town Street, Falls Road, and East Haddam Colchester Turnpike. And those did some data collection to see how many people sped and how fast they sped. That was a test that was done. This BB Road camera is a separate program with DOT, and it's specifically for BB Road. So in order for us to move it, we'd have to talk to DOT and say, can we do another study in another road?
So, I mean, how long do we have to test the speed on Beebe Road? 10 years, 15 years? Or can we make a phone call to gather some information somewhere else?
We certainly could look into that.
I have a question for Amanda there.
State your name and address again, please.
Stephen Merrick, Banner Road. So you had a good point that we kind of have to self-police ourselves and make a decision as a community as to what we want to do to lower the speed. For 20 years, I responded to calls where speed kills. It sure does. And I would say this much, that there's plenty of ways to educate the public as some of the consequences of just besides getting a ticket. I bet half this room doesn't know that you get above a certain speed, it's a criminal act. TIC, right there on the side of the road, taken to custody. Furthermore, you could be doing the speed limit and run somebody over, it's dark out, whatever the case may be. You better hire a good lawyer, because there's a good chance you're going to jail for manslaughter. And you could be doing the speed limit. And if you're doing above the speed limit, which they will prove, you'll be doing hard time. There's plenty of ways for town hall to reach the citizens of East Haddam, and by well-educated citizens, they might think twice about, I've got kids I need to raise, and I can't do that if I'm in jail. I might lose my home. A lawyer might destroy me in a courtroom, things like that. Rather than getting a $50 ticket, they might that's just the cost coming home each day or something like that, some people. I don't think that the cameras are the answer. I think awareness, education onto the bigger picture. Maine has some of the toughest drunk driving laws in the country. And when I go up to northern Maine, those good old boys, they go in the woods and they don't move. They drink in the woods. They won't even go on, they won't even move because you could get a DUI in the woods on a four-wheeler, same as you could, and they're real strict about it up there. So they hide out in the woods and they don't leave their camp. And so if you educate people onto the ramifications legally as to what speeding causes as it goes up, if you have an accident or you run somebody over, and there's plenty of people walking and jogging, they don't have reflective gear on, they're on their phone wandering out into the lane. You could be dead right, but how it plays out in the courtroom is a different story. So that's something to think about too.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just wanna get anybody who hasn't spoken.
If you get a say near triple digit on the speed camera, are you going for a warrant for summons to court? I mean, speedy process or?
We could talk to our court about that. I don't see why we wouldn't. If the court would accept the cameras,
for the registered owner, you don't know who the operator is.
So that's what we would have. We wouldn't have the operator, but that's not something we would decide. That's something our court would decide. They're the ones that would prosecute it, not us. So we would have to get permission. That's all, the whole purpose of doing a warrant is
You have to investigate who the
we're
operator was.
asking the court to arrest somebody.
And which I don't think the prosecutor would do unless you could confirm who the operator was.
You're probably right.
Okay, one last question over here, and then we're gonna stop real quick and do the public meeting at 8, and then we'll come back to this. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Doug Chesson, 39 Palmer Martin Road. I think that a general thing that I've seen here is that East Haddam is not for this type of thing. I think there might be a speeding problem. The solution to it is not these cameras, because they're not gonna, like people have mentioned, people see where the camera is, slow down there, resume speeding. So there's other solutions we have to look at to get this solved. And I don't think these cameras are any deal. It's talking about money-making type of thing, and expressed that it was gonna increase in cost to us later on as the company did not make the profit they were hoping for. So they're gonna come back and say, we need money from the town. Now, that's a legitimate question. So I don't think anyone here really wants these type of cameras, and it should go to a referendum for the whole town to vote on. That's my opinion on this whole matter.
Don't waste the money on a referendum.
Thank you for your comments. I'm gonna give the floor to our town clerk, because she has to run a special town meeting. And then, like I said, we can come back to this if anybody wants to stay and continue talking about it. Any information that's been brought forward, plus the letters that I will read, will go to the next Board of Selectmen, and they will continue the process. Thank you all for coming if you're leaving. If you're staying, thank you for staying.
Southern part of